Sometimes the world must lose a voice, so it can return stronger than before. In the quiet of duty, far from the flashing lights, Elvis found something deeper than fame. He found resolve, and when he came back, he didn't just return, he rose. Elvis Presley was a king. He was the king of rock and roll. His music was new and exciting. Young people everywhere loved his songs. They loved his voice and energy on stage. He danced in a way no one had seen before. He changed music forever. His impact was huge. He became famous very fast. Elvis had so many hit songs. Songs like Heartbreak Hotel made him a star. Then came Hound Dog and Don't Be Cruel. These songs played on every radio. People bought millions of his records. He also made movies. He was handsome and talented. His fans screamed when they saw him. He was more than a singer. He was a phenomenon. He represented a new kind of freedom. Everyone knew his name. With his success, Elvis bought a big house called Graceland in Memphis, Tennessee. He brought his parents to live there. He loved his mother Gladys very much. Life was very exciting for Elvis. He had everything he could dream of: money, fame, and the love of millions. But a big change was coming for Elvis. The United States Army needed soldiers, and Elvis Presley, the king of rock and roll, was called to serve. In December 1957, Elvis received his draft notice. He was at the height of his fame. He was making movies and hit records. The news that he would join the army was big. It was talked about everywhere. Some people thought he should not go. They worried his career would end. Many of his fans were very sad. They wrote letters and cried. They did not want their hero to leave. Some people, however, thought it was a good thing. They said it showed Elvis was a regular American. They said it showed he was willing to serve his country. This made some older people respect him more. Elvis himself was calm about the decision. He could have tried to avoid the army, but he chose not to. He said, "I'm going to do what the army tells me to do." He wanted to be treated like any other soldier. He felt it was his duty. This showed a side of Elvis that people admired. So on March 24, 1958, Elvis Presley was inducted into the U.S. Army. Reporters and photographers were everywhere. The world watched as the king of rock and roll traded his gold jackets for an army uniform. Elvis began his army life at Fort Chaffee, Arkansas. Then he was sent to Fort Hood, Texas for training. Life in the army was very different from his life as a superstar. There were no screaming fans. There were no fancy clothes. There were no special privileges. He was just another soldier. He had to follow strict rules. He had to wake up very early in the morning. This was a big adjustment for him. One of the first things he did was get an army haircut. His famous long hair, his sideburns were all cut short. This was a big symbol. It showed he was now part of the army. He wore the same green uniform as everyone else. He learned how to march. He learned how to handle a rifle. He did physical training. It was hard work, day after day. He had to be disciplined. He had to obey orders from his superiors. Elvis went through basic training like all new soldiers. He learned about army life and its demands. He had to clean his barracks. He had to stand for inspection. He had to work as part of a team. He was learning to be a soldier, step by step. While Elvis was stationed at Fort Hood in Texas, a terrible thing happened. His beloved mother, Gladys Presley, became very ill. Elvis and his mother were incredibly close. She was his rock, his confidant, his #1 fan. He loved her more than anyone in the world. When he heard she was sick, he was deeply worried. The army granted Elvis emergency leave. He rushed back to Memphis immediately. He went straight to the hospital where his mother was. He stayed by her bedside. He held her hand. He talked to her. He hoped and prayed she would get better. Tragically, Gladys Presley passed away on August 14, 1958. She was only 46 years old. Elvis was devastated. His heart was broken into a million pieces. It was the greatest loss of his life. He cried openly. He was inconsolable. The world saw his pain. Losing his mother changed Elvis forever. A part of his youthful joy seemed to fade. He carried this deep sadness with him. After the heartbreaking loss of his mother, Elvis had to return to his army duties. Soon after, he was sent overseas. He was stationed in Friedberg, West Germany. He served with the 3rd Armored Division. This was a big change. He was far from home. He had to adapt to a new environment. He continued his service as a soldier. Elvis chose to live off base in a town called Bad Nauheim. His father, Vernon, and his grandmother, Minnie May, came to Germany to live with him. Some of his close friends from Memphis also joined him there. This helped him feel less alone. Even though he was a soldier, music was still a big part of his life. In the evenings at his house, he would often have informal music sessions. He would play the guitar and sing. He sang gospel songs, blues, and new pop songs he heard. It was a way to relax. It was a way to stay connected to his passion. It was in Germany, in 1959, that Elvis met someone very important. Her name was Priscilla Beaulieu. This relationship would become a very significant part of his life. In March 1960, Elvis Presley completed his army service. He was honorably discharged with the rank of sergeant. His 2 years in the military were over. He was finally coming home. His fans were overjoyed. They had waited patiently for his return. Huge crowds gathered to welcome him back to America. The king was back, and everyone wanted to see what he would do next. Elvis did not waste any time. Soon after returning, he went into the recording studio in Nashville. He was eager to make music again. He had changed during his time in the army. He was more mature. His experiences had deepened him. This showed in his music. His voice had also developed. It was richer, stronger, and more versatile than before. His first album after the army was called Elvis is Back. The album was a huge success. This new sound showed his growth as an artist. The 2 years Elvis Presley spent in the U.S. Army were a very important time in his life. They changed him in many ways. He went in as a young rock and roll idol. He came out as a more mature man. He faced real challenges. He dealt with the discipline of military life. He experienced the deep sorrow of losing his mother. These experiences helped him to grow up. He learned valuable lessons about life. In the army, Elvis learned about discipline and responsibility. He was not treated like a star. He was treated like any other soldier. This was a humbling experience. It showed him a different side of life. It took him away from the bubble of fame. He saw the world from a new perspective. He interacted with people from all walks of life. This broadened his understanding of people and the world around him. This personal growth also had a big impact on his music. When he returned, his voice was deeper and more expressive. His choice of songs was more varied. He could sing rock and roll, but he could also sing beautiful ballads and gospel songs. The army years helped to shape him into the legendary performer he became. The army years helped to shape him into the legendary performer he became. His time as a soldier was a key chapter in the incredible story of Elvis Presley, a timeless artist. Thank you for watching Elvis Presley, The Army Years and Return to Fame, brought to you by Softbound. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and let us know your thoughts in the comments.